Hi, how's it going, guys? We're talking some Penn State football here. Penn State schedule preview. I'm excited for what this season could be. Ultimately, I think it's going to come down to maybe two or three games out of the eight. Let's get into it here. Starting off with Indiana. This is a tricky one. The offense finished third in the Big Ten last year and returned some key pieces. Michael Penix returns from injury last year, and he was really good before he got injured. Peyton Ramsey is also a decent option. He did pretty well against Penn State last year. The defense is good, but struggled against top offenses last year. Three starters back from last year in secondary, and has potential to be pretty good. I know Tom Allen's a big defensive guy. Um, the defense hasn't been amazing in Indiana, but I know he really likes to make sure that defense is good, and I think ultimately this year it should be pretty good. I think this Indiana game is really tough. Right before the Ohio State game, it's going to be really hard to try and keep the players focused when they're probably going to be looking at Ohio State. And this game on the road is going to be tough against Indiana. I think this is going to be really close. I think it'll be a win for Penn State, but I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana jumps out to a 14-point lead or something like that early. All right, Ohio State, obviously returning arguably the best player in the country, Justin Fields. Um, have a couple good running backs in Master Teague and the Oklahoma transfer Trey Sermon at receiver. Chris Olave is coming back because he was the leading receiver for him last year. Garrett Wilson, also a very talented receiver. Julian Fleming, of course, very, very talented, true freshman. Now, on defensive side of the ball, they lose um, all their starters on the D line, but they're gonna reload. You just know they're gonna reload. The O line should be pretty good too. Return Wyatt Davis. Secondaries is always good for Ohio State. Linebackers should be solid. Overall, I think Ohio State is going to be really good. Maybe the best team in the country, but we'll see. Penn State can give them a run for their money. This is obviously the biggest game of the year, and we'll see how it works out. All right, Maryland. By the way, I'm going with a loss against Ohio State. Maryland. Uh, I love making fun of Maryland. I don't know why. I just do. Um, But anyways, the offense exploded against Howard, Rutgers, and Syracuse. Other than that, they only averaged 12.5 points per game. You probably won't see much of a difference from last year. The defense finished last in Big Ten in scoring defense. They lose safeties Deion Jones and Antoine Brooks, while six other DBs are transferring. The plus side is for them is that they have talented safety Nick Crossback and have some other young options of potential, specifically up front. Um, I don't expect them to be anything great. I just love making fun of Maryland. They always seem to get hyped up against when they play Penn State, like they actually have a shot, and then we kill them. And I don't know. It's just so funny. I think it's going to be more of the same this year. I think that we'll really dominate them. I don't see any reason why we couldn't or we shouldn't do that. All right, Nebraska. Um, Adrian Martinez gets a lot of hype, but the offense hasn't been very special the last couple years. They do return most of their starters from last year, however, and that's big, returning a lot of experience on the offense. Adrian Martinez is going to his third year now, so maybe they'll have their big year this year on offense. We'll see. Um, the defense has been disappointing under Scott Frost. It loses six starters, and a big blow is losing D-line brothers Khalil and Carlos Davis to the NFL. I think the defense is going to take a step back. I think they lose too much. I think the offense might be good, but I don't see the defense um, replicating maybe what the offense would be doing. Overall, I think that they're going to be an okay team. They have a tough schedule this year, and they should give Penn State a little bit of a challenge, but I think Penn State by the fourth quarter will have it over. But we'll see how that works out. All right, Iowa. Iowa's always a respectable opponent. They have talent on offense this year, but need to replace Nate Stanley at quarterback. Nate Stanley was a guy that wasn't necessarily the greatest quarterback, but he was always solid. He started for a few years there, and the only time the offense looked impressive last year was in the Holiday Bowl against USC. They didn't score more than 27 points against anybody except Rutgers, and then for the Holiday Bowl they did really well. But we'll see how they look. I think they have some talented options up front and on the at receiver. Um, but losing Nate Stanley, we'll see. I'm not even sure who they're going to put in at quarterback off the top of my head, but uh, I think Iowa will put somebody as decent in there. I think this game will be over probably by about the fourth quarter, kind of like the Nebraska game. I think Penn State will be able to handle Iowa. They're always a tough opponent, though. All right, getting into Michigan. Michigan's interesting because normally Michigan is relatively good. They're obviously not like an elite team, but they're top 20, top 25 team that last year gave Penn State a lot of trouble at home, almost came back and beat them. Um, this year, I expect Penn State to win. I think it's going to be close, though. They never play well in the big house. I know fans won't be there, but I don't think the atmosphere is amazing at the big house, anyways, even though there's a ton of people. Um, I think overall, they'll be pretty good. I think on offense, I think it's Joe Milton starting. We'll see how they look. I think they're always kind of a wild card. You never really know exactly what you're going to get. They're probably going to go somewhere from like 5-3, 6-2, maybe something like that. The defense should be really good. I like what they have up front, especially Avery Thomas at corner. I don't know. Did he opt out or not? I honestly can't even think about that right now, whether he opted out. All right, getting into Rutgers. Greg Schiano is now the head coach, and he's going to try and change the culture there. The offense finished second to last in the nation in both yards and scoring. Um, that's putrid. You're a Big Ten team and you finish second to last in the country, which obviously you're going up against other Big Ten teams, but still, I mean that's horrible. The linebackers may be the biggest positive for Rutgers. They have some nice depth there. The line has consistently failed at getting into the backfield. There's some size and experience on the defense and defensive line, but they've received transfers from elsewhere that may cause a change. The D line needs to disrupt the QB a heck of a lot more. They need to get in the backfield. They haven't really done that there at Rutgers. And Greg Schiano, ultimately year one for him is just establishing a foundation, trying to get that winning attitude back from when he was there at first. It's going to be a lot harder now that he's in the Big Ten, but we'll see if he can do it. I think he's a relatively good coach. It's just difficult to win at Rutgers. All right, Michigan State. The offense needs to become more modern and replace Brian Lewerke. Um, the offense at Michigan State for the last few years has just been very pro style, and by that I mean just kind of ground and pound, no spread. It's not really been the ideal college offense that uh, maybe you would like. And now they have Mel Tucker in there. Uh, Mark D'Antoni is now gone, who coached there for a long time, but Mel Tucker needs to make some changes in the offense. The defense is Mel Tucker's specialty. The defense was 18th in the country last year, and only lost six starters. Um, so returning five starters is all right, about average. But overall, I think that defense will be about as good as they were last year. I think the defense is normally pretty good for Michigan State. I think what's going to make this team, whether it's going to be successful first year under Mel Tucker or a very bad year, which I think is possible, I think the difference will be if they can maybe the offense can change and evolve over the season, and maybe by that last game of the season, they might be able to give Penn State a tough game. All right, so anyways, I predict a close win against Indiana, a close loss against Ohio State, a blowout win against Maryland, maybe about 20-point win against Nebraska and Iowa, uh, like a close win against Michigan. I'm going to say a 30-point win against Rutgers, and uh, we'll say about a 24-point win against Michigan State. That will equal out to a 7-1 season. I think they can beat Ohio State. I don't think they will, but ultimately we'll see. I think this season has potential to be special for them. It all comes down to the Ohio State game, in my opinion, and hopefully they don't slip up against Indiana. And we'll see how Michigan looks like this year. I think those are the three biggest games: Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan. Um, Trust me, don't sleep on Indiana that first game. Don't look too far ahead at Ohio State because Indiana will be tough. All right, thank you guys. We'll be back here maybe sometime this week. Um, Talking more Penn State football. We are Penn State.